Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wine and Real Estate. So we're not drinking wine, but we could. So welcome, George.
Thank
Uh,
you. I don't know if I can drink wine. I'm at the office here. I don't know if they have wine. Sorry.
oh no, yeah, I'm always drinking wine, usually in my
Yeah.
hot tub. I'm thinking about hosting some future episodes from the hot tub, but it is a bit loud with the jets and things. So,
Oh,
and
yeah, that'd be awesome.
I might get electrocuted, but anyway, could
Yeah.
be funny as well.
You just got to set up your camera far away from the water.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't
Yeah.
want to like splash or get a GoPro or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome. I'm really glad to have you on my podcast. And I love your website, welloff.ca. So that's where a
Thank
lot
you.
of people want to be. So can you give us maybe some insight? How did you become well off and what's going on with you?
Okay. Just to be fair, I didn't I didn't create the website to show off that I'm well off. That's
No,
not that
no.
wasn't the point. It was more like the idea around helping people become well off through real estate. So that's the whole concept behind the website. Behind the name on the website. So anyway, I think the way I started out, I started building wealth through real estate in 2017. I
Okay.
bought my first place. It was a rental property in Hamilton, Ontario, and it was a really beat up place, lots of problems.
Beautiful Hamilton. I used to live there in the late 90s, early 2000.
Oh, cool.
So which part, like mountain or more downtown
It
or
was
east?
downtown.
Okay.
Downtown,
Lots
yeah,
of potential up and
lots
coming.
of potential. Um, some crime,
Yes.
but anyway, yeah, this place was pretty bad. Like for a first property, you know how when people buy their first property, they're usually looking for a nice place. You don't have to do a lot of work. I bought a place that had cockroaches and fleas and
Oh,
all sorts of problems. So, looking back, that's not a big deal anymore because I've dealt with worse. But
yeah.
yeah, that was it, and I renovated it with my own two hands. I had some help
Okay, so you're
from
really close
yeah,
to the cockroaches.
very close. I remember one time I left my toolbox on the floor.
Oh no.
I went to go pick it up, and as I reach for it, like six cockroaches go flying out of my toolbox.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you don't want to bring that home. How do you manage that? I've always been curious. I've never experienced that, thankfully, but
Cockroaches. Okay, so if there isn't like grease and food and stuff laying in the house, they're they're not going to stay for long, and also they die in the cold.
oh, okay.
So the house was empty, so like it was cleaned up, and then also it was the winter, so I just didn't turn on the heat for a while, which I mean maybe wasn't the smartest thing, but I think a lot of them died that way. And I also ordered this like poison. To be honest, I think it's banned in Canada, but I ordered it from like Amazon.com, so it came from the
Oh,
States.
cool.
I think that poison killed a lot of the roaches. So I don't know. Anyways, that's how I did it.
But it's kind of
Uh,
like bed bugs. Those bugs are hard to get rid of. I mean, if
yeah.
once they start getting in there and they can get on your clothes, then you bring them home and you have food and oil and things. So not a good deal. But you did see an opportunity there. So what kind of property was this? Like a single family or a
Yeah.
duplex or?
Yeah. It was so it was actually set up as two units. And I believe it was operating as a duplex at one point, but at this time it was rented to a family. So when I bought it, I just kind of fixed it up, and I didn't rent it to two. I rented it to a single family.
Again, okay.
Again, yeah. So that was the first one.
And you still own it from 2017?
I still own that one. Yeah.
Great. So mortgage renewal is coming up, I
I
guess.
actually refinanced it, so it doesn't matter to me if it's
Okay.
coming up. I was able to leverage that property to buy others, which is one of the benefits of owning real estate.
Yes, especially in hot markets like Hamilton. Hamilton's seen amazing appreciation. I think it's leveling off somewhat right now. Like it's still very good, but not as crazy as what
Yeah.
we've seen.
Yep.
So perfect. So can you tell us your story? So you bought that house. Did you already own your personal residence? Like
No, I didn't own personal residence at the time.
nothing.
That was my first home, and
Okay. With
um,
cockroaches.
with cockroaches. Yeah, I my idea was I don't want to take on a mortgage right now and, pay that money. I was living with my parents at the time, so I thought, let me just buy this and generate some rental income. And I thought, okay, it's going to cash flow like $200-300 a month. I'll start using that money and spending it. And then you realize that's not exactly how it works. You gotta
No.
reinvest that money into the property usually. So, but at least I had the right idea and I got a cash flow positive property.
That's smart though, living at home, so you got an opportunity there, like liquidity. And how did you, for financing, since it's almost a single home, did you only need 5% down or?
I had to put 20% down for that one.
Okay.
I made a mistake. I worked with a mortgage broker that was recommended to me by another realtor, and this broker had told me originally that only needed 10%, and then
Uh,
after I firmed up, he told me you need 20%. So I
ouch,
had
10 more
to.
percent.
Yeah, that wasn't. Yeah, but it's all part of the learning curve, like now I know. Okay, you got to get a mortgage approval document, like a
Oh,
mortgage
you didn't even
commitment.
have that. Wow, okay.
Yeah, I just took his word for it. But it was my first time buying a property, so I didn't know what to expect. I just trusted him, and he said 10%, so I took his word, and yeah. But it
Yeah,
all works out in the end. I had to figure it out, and I did, and that led to a lot of really good things.
cool. No, you do have to make some of those mistakes, I find. If everything is handed off to you, like I have kids, they're teenagers. If you do everything for them, they don't learn. So it's the
Yeah,
same for investors. It's a shame though, 10% more could make or break the deal, but it's important to know all those factors, and the whole trust but verify is huge. I learned that the hard way many times as well myself.
yeah, for sure.
So cool. So you were able to increase the value doing some work yourself. What kind of renovation did you have to do? It must have been fairly extensive.
Yeah. So because of the fleas, they had carpet
Oh,
throughout the
please as
house.
well. Wow.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I mentioned that.
No.
Um, yeah, so I ripped out all the carpet, and funny story, I actually had my cousin come by. I was like, "Hey, can you help me out with this property? Maybe you can just help me demo and whatever." He got there before me, so I gave him the lockbox code.
Oh no, surprise.
And he's wearing shorts.
Oh my goodness.
He
Wow.
he
Okay.
walks in this house and he calls me, and I'm like, 10 minutes away. He goes, "Hey, something's biting me all over my legs. I got these marks on my legs. What is this?" So then I'm freaking out. I had no idea. I don't know how to deal with fleas or anything. So yeah. Anyway, that was a little side story. Yeah, I ripped out all the carpet, put down new flooring, new kitchen. Um, I did baseboards, painted the whole place, just spruced it up. Did a little bit of work in the bathroom and changed the vanity, and yeah, that was the extent of it at the time.
Okay. And maybe give us an idea of budget. So since you did a lot of work yourself, you put in a lot of sweat equity.
Yeah,
How much did you buy the place for, and how much did you put in it, and the return, if you don't mind sharing?
sure. I bought it for 215,000.
Wow, you can't get that anymore in Hamilton.
No, yeah, definitely not. I put in, I think if I remember correctly, about $12,000.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah,
Plus all your work though.
plus all my work. Yeah, obviously, if I hired contractors, it would have been a lot more. It took me like 3 months to renovate.
Okay.
And I refinanced it for 300,000.
Wow. So they're like a Burr strategy there.
Yeah,
That's perfect.
yeah. So I was able to recoup all the money that I had invested and a little bit more, and I was able to reinvest that money.
Perfect. And are you still investing in Hamilton now, or have you spread out a bit, or?
I still invest in Hamilton, but I did spread out. So now I'm also in Welland and St. Catharines.
Okay, still similar area,
Yeah,
just a bit more outside. So Welland, I've heard lots of good things about it. Lots of investors have gone there. What are the opportunities in Welland? What should an investor look for if you're thinking about the area?
um, good question. I mean, Welland it's definitely a solid market to invest in, but we have seen a huge increase in
Oh yeah,
pricing in that area. So it's hard to say. I mean, just like any other market, I think you want cash flow positive property. So if you're buying a single family home and it's going to cost you $500 a month to carry it out of pocket,
Yeah,
you're going to spend
not a good
500. It
deal.
doesn't make sense. So yeah, obviously you can find that type of opportunity in Welland, but if you are able to buy a multi-unit there, I think you could do pretty well. We just we have a triplex under contract right now.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, and there's a potential for a fourth unit in that building. And
Okay.
once that fourth unit's in, then it's going to cash flow. So you got to be creative, find ways to make deals work, and that's I think that's how you can take advantage of a market like this.
So yeah, Welland is already priced up there, so you need to add units, add storage, whatever, something to increase the income. So
Yeah.
that's really smart. That's most Ontario markets now, I find, unless you go like to Timmins or somewhere
Yeah.
really, really far up north, or a small town. But that's great. And financing now, do you have partners? Because I think you said
We do have partners, yeah. We still buy some properties on our own, so yeah, we've done well. I feel like the nice thing about having partners is that we're able to actually help people that would probably never invest in real estate on their own, or they might invest in a product that isn't necessarily great for them. So
Yeah, I
that,
love that. That's so true.
yeah, that's been one of the most rewarding things about working with partners. And I just love finding out about people's goals and, what are you trying to accomplish and how can we help you? And then combining resources to do that.
Exactly, because you run out at some point of cash or credit or something, or time,
Yeah.
depending on what you're doing. So
Yeah.
that's really smart. And I love that part about helping people. I do a lot of joint ventures myself.
Cool.
And I was having breakfast this morning with someone, and similar situation. He said, "Oh, I'm looking to buy a condo here, and that's going to be my investment." I'm like, "No, stop
Yeah.
it. Not a condo. It's not good. You'll be out of pocket, and the condo fees will keep going up." And just it depends what your goal is and your strategy.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
George, a question I get a lot is, how do I get started? So you've mentioned an example, but let's say you started fresh in 2021 or 2022.
Mm-hmm.
What would you recommend as a starting point for someone?
It depends where you are. So not physically. I mean, kind of financially, I
In your
guess.
life and finance?
Yeah. Like, are you working full time, or do you have a lot of time on your hands?
Yeah,
If you're working full time and you don't have the time to become an expert real estate investor, then I would start by collaborating with someone who isn't an expert. If, on the other hand, you have a lot of time but you don't have a lot of resources or whatever, then I would become an expert and I would just get into a market, either get into a market that I can afford,
yeah.
and that might mean you going away somewhere like far away to invest, or learn how to raise capital yourself and partner with people that have the money so that you can get started that way.
Cool. Very good advice. And about raising capital, is that something you've been doing lately, or?
Well, we raise capital in the sense that we have people that we've been in touch with, that we have relationships with, that have expressed interest in collaborating with us, and they provide capital for some of our transactions, for some of our deals. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's all about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, a lot of people think, "Oh, I'm going to raise capital, I'm going to get $1 million." It's really relationships you build over months or years.
Yeah.
And how do you gain that trust? Because it's not easy. Some people think, "Oh, yeah, you're going to take my money and do whatever you want."
Yeah. Well, the easiest way really is to try to develop a business relationship with people that already know you and trust you. So if you're talking to a family member, there's already usually trust there. So it's a lot easier to get them kind of convinced that you can help them. Whereas
Yeah.
if you're just posting stuff on Facebook in an investor group, it's going to be a lot tougher to earn somebody's trust that way. You know what I mean? Like, it's not impossible. It's very possible, but it's just easier to work with people that you already know.
Yeah, you really collapse time by working with people in your natural circle of influence, like
Yeah.
family, colleagues. A lot of people don't think about coworkers. That's a huge source of potential
Mhm.
partners. My wife still has a job, so a lot of people ask her, "Hey, I love what you're doing. We should invest together." And they know her. They know her work ethic. Same with family members. I mean, they've seen the difference. You've gone from one property living at home with your parents to how many properties now? I think I read 17 doors.
Door. Yeah, we're actually going to be closing on our 20th door.
Wow. So there
Yeah.
you go. In only 4, almost 5 years. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a short timeline and a good track record, especially in an expensive market too.
Hmm.
It's not like you're buying in Detroit $20,000 houses. That's very
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we get caught up in like how many doors we own, or try comparing our portfolio to other people. At the end of the day, what's important is just setting goals and figuring out what kind of lifestyle you want, and
Yes.
then achieving that, working towards that. Forget about what anybody else is doing. What's the life that I want for my family and for myself, and what do I have to do to get there? I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, and then do you have a bit of a work back plan for that? Like you break it down to do this, like travel or whatever it is. Is that how you do it?
Yeah.
Or
We have a cash flow goal that we're aiming towards, a
okay.
monthly net cash flow goal. And that's based on, again, the life that we want to live. So once we reach that goal, then we know that we don't have to worry about working. We'll probably still work because I think we'd be bored otherwise.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of our what we're basing it on. And I think another thing is we would love to have like a villa in Italy,
Oh,
so
nice.
we can go there, a couple months in the year and just enjoy and relax and unwind.
That's perfect. Italian wines are the best too.
Yeah, yeah.
So do you have a spot you've identified in Italy? Are you kind of building up or it's still a few years away?
Yeah, it's still a few years away. We actually, neither myself or my wife have been to Italy just yet, but my wife's Italian.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah, thanks. It's perfect. It is perfect actually for me. I love the food and everything, and yeah. So we plan on going. We haven't had our honeymoon yet. We got married last year, so I think we're gonna
Oh,
go.
COVID wedding too.
Yeah, yeah. When we go to Italy, we'll explore some places and figure out where we'd like to be. I know we want to be on the ocean for sure.
Excellent. That's beautiful to have a dream like that, and it really helps you persevere because it's not always easy. Like you've
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, the fleas, the cockroaches. I mean, that's a bad situation. How are your deals now? Like this deal in Welland, is it very rough or it's more cosmetic and adding that fourth unit or
Yeah, to be honest, it's actually really nice. It's a little outdated. It's not
okay.
perfect, but we're definitely not dealing with fleas and roaches. At least not that I know of.
Okay.
It's the people there keep their places really really well, and I think in this scenario we just got creative and we found a way to add some income to the property to make the numbers work, and that's kind of been the difference now. I'm not just going for like the cheapest property.
Yeah.
I'm going for the place with potential and where I can get creative and make the numbers work. But also
Nice.
my situation has changed. I had to kind of go for that cheap property before because I
Yeah, you
only
have no
had the
choice.
resources for it.
No, that's wonderful. And I love that. I'm all about essentialism and kind of narrowing it down. So you don't need a million doors. Some people are, like you said earlier, in a competition, it seems. I have 1,000 doors and
Yeah.
this and that, but you could have 1,000 doors and have zero cash flow,
Hmm.
or you could have 17 or 20 like you will have very shortly, and you could be living the lifestyle you want, going to Italy and enjoying life. And those properties are cash flowing and appreciating, and
Yeah.
they tick all the boxes. So
Yeah.
you have some sort of criteria. You mentioned cash flow. Is there something else you're looking at when considering properties?
We always well, at this point, we're looking at multi units. So we're not buying single family homes anymore.
Yeah.
And our sweet spot in the last year has been 3 to 6 unit buildings.
Okay.
But one of my goals for 2022 is to get a 10 plus unit building.
Nice. So commercial,
Yes.
residential.
Yes, exactly. That's the goal, and the reason that we like the multis is for the kind of the added security when you own multiple units. One tenant doesn't pay rent, you're still generating income from the other units. I've been in a situation with that single family home where that I had some problems with the tenants. I had to carry that mortgage,
Oh,
and it's not so bad now because we have other properties they can kind of offset each other. But in that situation, it was a little bit tough for me covering that mortgage plus my own mortgage and other things. So
and property taxes and water, depending, and
yeah,
insurance, and yeah, it really adds up. People don't think about it, but
yeah,
it really does. Yeah, I love the multifamily space. The economies of scale as well. You're able to negotiate snow removal or whatever it is
hmm,
at a different scale. And the commercial lending it's a lot more fun. You don't need to qualify anymore. The building does. So like you still sort of do, but it's not the same.
yeah.
So now that you're planning bigger, do you have corporations? What's your structure to make these acquisitions?
Yeah, we have a couple of corporations. Um, what's the structure? Um, well, obviously we have to raise capital for a larger purchase like that. So that's one of the key things we're working on. But yeah, definitely corporations to protect ourselves. And anytime, I mean, I'm not giving like advice. I'm just kind of
No, no.
sharing our own thing. But whenever we get into any sort of joint venture situation, we always try to do it in a corp to protect our personal assets and whatnot. So yeah, that's been our structure.
Okay, excellent. And in joint ventures, can you tell us more? I get a lot of questions. I do a lot myself, but I love hearing how others structure their joint ventures. Do you get into life insurance as well to cover the partners? And if you can give us some insight into your
Yeah.
JVs.
It's funny you say that. I actually had somebody recently bring that up about the life insurance thing. We haven't done that. But yeah, we just structure it. I mean, every deal is different.
Yeah,
Obviously, it depends on what's being done, who's bringing what, that kind of thing. But we try to keep it as simple as possible. We don't need, personally, I don't need a 50-page contract.
no,
Yeah, I know some people do like that, but just keep it simple. Make sure you're on the same page. Make sure you guys have the right expectations. I don't go in saying, "Hey, we're doing this. We're going to be out of this project in 3 months." I
no,
always try to
that's not
set a five
realistic.
year, yeah, like a 5 year timeline. We're going to hold on to this property for 5 years. Are you on board? Are you on the same page? If you're not, then maybe we need to look at another property or a different strategy.
That's excellent. So setting
Yeah.
expectations is huge.
Yeah.
And the timeline, I like that, the 5 years, because by the time you've got your closing costs, land transfer tax, carrying costs, and maybe you're refinancing, so there's more legal costs, more mortgage fees and things. So you want that longer timeline to make it work. So
Yeah.
do you find you
100%.
work mostly with the same partners over and over, like the same people you kind of recycle? And
Yeah, once you do well with a project, they're, I mean, depending on what their goals are, but usually the partner's going to want to do more.
more?
Yeah, so that's been awesome. Like, you know, sometimes you get lucky and you're able to refinance, after a year instead of
Yeah,
5 years, and then you just look like a hero. Yeah, the market did well, but I mean, it's just the way it is, right? So, yeah, I mean, definitely repeat is a big part of it.
cool. So the burr with joint ventures.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have some sort of trigger in your joint venture agreement? Like I put some when you mentioned earlier a refi. So when the property goes up by 25% in value, I usually ask my partners, okay, now is the time to refinance or sell or something.
Yeah.
Is that something you build in as part of your expectations? And
Not for the refi.
okay,
The refi, we kind of just have a conversation in that moment. Like if we notice that the market is appreciated substantially, we might just talk and say, "Okay, are you ready? Do you want to
yeah,
do it now?" But we do have something in there that basically we won't sell the property until it's appreciated by, I think it's somewhere around 20%, something like that.
Okay, that's a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Because if 5 years have passed and for some reason it didn't appreciate,
Flat.
it's the exact same price that what we bought it at, then maybe we want to hold on. So anyway, not likely, but yeah.
Yeah, well, you're young, you have some time, so that's a big thing as well. Like you mentioned that earlier as well, getting to know your partners. What are their expectations? Let's say they're 50 or 60, their timeline is very different. They need
Yeah.
to maybe cash out sooner, or they want to cash out sooner, or it's their retirement fund. Can mean many things. So that's great. So George, I think you're also a realtor. So
Mhm.
do you help mostly investors or just people that are buying houses, or what's your clientele?
Yeah. I work with my wife and her mom, which
Okay, great.
always makes people laugh when I say I work with my mother-in-law. But yeah, so we have a team. I focus on investors. I
Okay.
work with investors, and then my wife and her mom, they work with a lot of residential sales and purchases. So that's kind of how we're divided. Yeah.
It's very smart because it's balanced. So if you're only investor focused, you can have some dry seasons because it's
Mhm.
hard to find listings right now. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's a good mix like that. And then I'm sure your mother-in-law and your wife do get to meet people that buy houses and then become investors, and vice versa. Investors want their dream home. It's a very different way of acquiring properties.
100%. Yeah, it's definitely a huge advantage for us to have both pillars. So, um, yeah, we're all kind of experts in different fields, and it works well.
That's great. And so what are you planning for 2022? Now that the 2021, or this when it's aired, it's probably in 2022, but the new year,
Yeah.
what are your goals?
We recently had a session where we were setting goals, and for me, there's there's several goals, but one of which is to increase our cash flow by $3,000 a month for the year,
Okay.
net cash flow, so an increase of 3,000 to acquire 10 or more unit building. And then also, we mentioned the trip to Italy. That would be awesome if we can do
Yes.
that. Yeah. Um, I want to get back into the gym. It's been a while since I've worked out. We recently had a baby, so that kind of has something to do with it.
Oh, well, congrats anyway. It's worth it. And you
Yeah,
can
for
do,
sure.
I don't know,
Yeah,
exercises with the baby.
yeah. Those are some of the goals that we've set. Yeah, all revolve around the life that we want, really. So
And can you describe us a bit more about that life? So now you have a baby, you have a wife, you have a mother-in-law.
yeah,
We have to
yeah,
be careful about that
yeah,
one. Going
yeah,
to
yeah.
Italy, anything else? Like, are you into cars, or you want time off, or you go to the gym? You mentioned that. So,
Yeah. Um, well, if we're talking about like other random goals, one of my goals is to eventually become a grandmaster in chess.
okay,
So
wow, very
yeah,
cool.
I'm far from it now, but I
Beat
think
the
once I
computer program.
sorry.
Beat the computer program. My son's been trying, and yeah, it's not really
Oh
possible.
yeah. Yeah. So once I'm able to free up some time by earning, the cash flow and replacing income, then that'll allow me to focus more on that. But I don't want to get too distracted at this time.
Yeah, but it's fun to have these kind of farther goals that are in the future. Like I'm learning Spanish. It's been
Yeah.
many years in the making.
Yeah.
And as you free up time, then you can focus on these hobbies and things that just add to your quality of life. And
Yeah,
that's
for
great.
sure.
So
Yeah.
excellent. Well, thank you so much, George. If people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way? And
Yeah. Welloff.ca. If you go there, then you could book a call with me if you'd like to chat. And then, yeah, that's the best way to reach me.
okay, cool. And do you have any final word of advice, something you'd like to share with our my listeners?
Um, yeah, I mean, any final words? I think just take action. Don't sit around and just take in all this information and do nothing with it. Make sure you apply what you're learning and go create the life that you want.
That's huge. So you can become well off.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love it. I thought it's very aspirational, well off, and it's not flaunting it. It's more that you're doing well and you're helping others. So it's a
Yeah.
very, very kind way of being well off.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care.